An ionic bond is a metal and a non-metal bonding together. First, with representative elements. The representative elements I'm going to choose are lithium and fluorine. Bonded together, they look like this. This is because lithium, which is a representative element, falls in the +1 charge category, while fluorine, which is a negative element, falls in the -1 charge category. So there's no charges to represent here or here because they're both +1 and -1, so they cancel out. The way you would write this is lithium fluoride. The reason why you would put an "ide" is because whenever you combine representative elements, or any for that case, you always should put an IED instead of an INE, such as lithium chloride. Instead of chlorine, you put INE, like this. You normally put INE, but when you combine the two together and make it one, you put "ide." For transition metals, I decided to use iron, and then sulfate, which is a polyatomic ion. And iron always has a charge of +3, even though it's a transition metal. So the way you write the formula would be iron Roman numeral 3 in parentheses sulfate. And the formula would be iron's symbol, which is Fe +3 charge, and sulfate, which is polyatomic ion, is SO4 -2 charge. And the way you would write this is you have to switch them, so the charges, and it would be Fe. You'd switch -2 here and the 3 over here, so it'd be Fe2 parentheses SO4 parentheses 3. And then you'd know the charge because you'd flipped them. So if you were trying to find the name of it, you could know that 3 is the charge because you'd flip it back over here and it would be. Now I will show you how to bond with polyatomic ions in a representative element. The polyatomic ion I chose was ammonium. And then when you bond it with a polyatomic ion, the representative element I chose was phosphate, or phosphorus before you change the N. But you have to change the N to phosphorus to fate. And that's how you get the name. And then to get the formula, since phosphorus is a -3 charge, you would go put it in parentheses, and you put phosphorus here. And since it has a -3 charge, you would switch it down here, just like you would switch ammonium's charge, but it's a +1 positive, so you don't have to write it there, it's just already there. And then you would drag the -3 charge of phosphorus down to here. But you don't write the negative in the formula. You just write NH4 parentheses 3 and then phosphorus, or P. What I chose for representing covalent bond was CH4. or known as methane. The reason I chose this is because it's one of the simpler ones and it's easier to show. So CH4 represents 1 carbon, 4 hydrogen. And you can write it like this. I'll do the Lewis dot. And the hydrogen and carbon are connected by these right here, these electrons, which are called unshared pair. Which basically just means that they're not shared by either, because it's hydrogen and carbon are using them. And then another way you can draw this is with lines, and these represent a single covalent bond. And that's how you know how to write the formula, which would be CH4, because there's 4 hydrogen and 1 carbon. Another thing to mention is what forms the covalent bond is 2 nonmetals. And what forms an ionic bond is a metal and a nonmetal. Different types of covalent bonds. The first one being nonpolar covalent, which an electron pair is shared equally. A polar covalent, where the electron pair is not shared equally. And a coordinate covalent bond, which one atom supplies both electrons for the shared pair.